All right, this is a huge honor for me. Married to Meagher, our plant now, but I appreciate you joining the podcast. Thank you.
Thank you. It's always humbling that someone still wants to talk to me.
Well, listen, the reason why I want to talk to you is because I record history in a way, the swimming history. I've started this podcast and I've been talking to people throughout the history of the sport who have made major impacts on the sport, but none more than you. Like, I don't know if you realize this, but me growing up in Australia and being in the sport for 30 years, I think I heard your name more than any other person I'd never met before in the history of the sport. You were like this mythical creature. Do you know that?
No, I mean, I know I had a lot of success, and the further away you get from it, the more you understand. Wow, I did something amazing, I guess, and I don't know how I did it, or how I got so lucky, but I'm so grateful for the experiences I had in the pool.
No doubt, no doubt. You made a huge impact on the swimming world, swimming history. So take credit for that. It's a fantastic achievement in that sense. But it wasn't until I really dug into why and how. Like, I was looking at it this morning, kind of doing a little bit of research for this, because I'm like, Brett, like, you can't just walk in and say, well, I've heard about you. So it's like, why have I heard about you? So I'm digging into it, and there's some pretty incredible things, and I want to read just a couple of things, and I don't want to embarrass you in any way, but certainly there was some stuff in there that just kind of slaps you in the face when you read it. But the first thing I want to read is actually a quote from Denis Pursley. Now, was Denis your coach at any point?
Oh yeah, he's the one that took me from I'm going to say being a good swimmer to setting my first world record, and that all happened in basically a 12-month period.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, let me read you what he said. So first of all, he says, when she was a teenager, Mary showed no weaknesses. That's pretty incredible. But he goes further into that, and he says, every athlete I've known had some form of weakness, be it in terms of motivation, technique, or physical attributes, but Mary was the exception. So he's basically saying, in terms of motivation, you were the best he'd seen. In terms of technique, it was sound, obviously, and then your physical attributes. And when I'm looking back at your record today, when you went that 205, which is the swim that kind of everybody talks about, he's right in the sense that you look like any athlete today. Like, you looked abnormal for that time, that you were extremely fit, extremely strong in that sense. But you were only what, 5'7"? Is that what you are? 5'7", about 130 pounds?
I think I had reached my full height by then. So I was probably 5'8".
5'8".
And
okay.
I know in 81, when I set that world record, the one that you're talking about, the 205, I just happened to go into an office. Someone wanted to talk to me about something, and there was a scale in there, and it cracks me up. But I remember weighing, I think it was like, if I remember right, like 128, which that was, I had not finished going through adolescence at 128. So
yeah, well, you still look strong. So, but back in that day, obviously, everybody knows the history of swimming. It was all about yardage, right? So you're swimming tons and tons of yards. But from your perspective, what was the type of work you were doing back around that time?
So Denis is incorrect. I did have weaknesses. They may have not really played a role or come out until later in my career. Obviously, when you go your fastest time when you're 16 years old and swim for 7 more years and don't swim faster, there is a problem there. But I think for some reason I was blessed with the ability to do a lot of long yardage butterfly. But some of that came from, I was a very obedient girl. I mean, I was raised in a, kind of black and white family. I thrived under that. I thrived following the rules. Obviously, I got I had a lot of success at a young age for following the rules, and not just swimming, but school. I did really well in school. Catholic faith. I still love my faith, but back then it was a little more black and white, or it had been presented to me as being more black and white. And, I got a lot of, I felt very loved by God back then. So, yeah, things came together at a young age for me. where I could do what I did in the pool.
Were you one of many in a family? Is that right? Were you?
I was the 10th child in my family out of 11. I have one younger sister.
Wow, that's wild. What's that like growing up in a family like that?
Well, I loved it. And I think most of my sisters would say they loved it. Even though we had very strict parents, they were also very loving.
Hmm.
So, and fun, playful. So, I think it was a really good balance. Um, but it was also nice being just one of the clan. I never felt like I was under the microscope with my parents.
Mm.
Even when I started having success, I think one of the things they did so well was hide from me what it's like to be the parent of an athlete, any athlete. I have 2 grown kids now, and it's hard to be on the sidelines. And
Yeah, yeah.
so I think they did such a nice job just kind of pretending like, "Oh, good job. All right,
Hmm.
let's go to church tomorrow." Okay,
No big deal, whatever. But like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of moving around. If you've got 11 kids as well, like there's a lot of discipline when it comes to swim practice. I mean, you got to get up at a certain time. You got to be there. I mean, I'm sure back then you're probably doing doubles. You're probably in the pool maybe like 4 hours a day. So it's like there's a lot of moving parts there, especially with 11 kids. So how did they manage all that?
They paid people to drive me to and from practice.
Okay, good.
That's
Yeah.
basically what they did. And no one in no, that's not true. My older sister got a car when she turned 16 because she was a ballerina and she was doing long hours with the
Oh, that's
little
true. Yeah, I guess there's always someone older than you to drive you, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah.
There was.
Yeah. But was everybody doing some sort of sport? Why were you swimming?
My dad helped renovate a country club when, years, when my older sisters were young. And so we were, members of that country club in Louisville, Kentucky. And so we all learned to swim at a young age. Those were the days that it wasn't irresponsible for your mom to drop you off for
Mm,
swim practice and not come back until 5 o'clock at night to pick you up. The
yeah.
lifeguards took care of us, and my older siblings took care of us. And so we lived at the pool in the summer. And so, but from a young age, I had a lot of success. And right away in butterfly, for some reason, I think I was first put on a relay to swim butterfly when I was 5 years old. And
Oh, wow.
so, yeah, but all my family, we were encouraged to do a lot. So, as I said, my sister right above me was a ballerina. But I had a sister in politics. She actually served in Congress for
Mm,
8 or 10 years and
wow.
in the Kentucky state legislature for quite a while. So all my sisters and brother, I only had one brother, we were encouraged to, really dive into things. And so we did.
Oh, hang on. That just hit me there. So there was 11 kids and there was only one boy?
Yeah. There was
Oh
only
my
one boy.
God.
Yeah. So I know everyone says, "Oh, your poor brother." And it's like, well, wait a second. He's the only one that got his own bedroom. He never had to wear hand-me-downs. So,
That's true.
there were some
Wow.
advantages.
That's fantastic. Oh my gosh. One son. He must have been the golden child. What number was he?
He was 5th.
He was 5th.
My dad jokes and says all he ever wanted were 2 sons.
Well, he tried, but man, he keep getting girls. A
He
lot of
did.
females in that house. Wow,
Yeah.
that's incredible. It is incredible when I really dig into the numbers. Why it makes sense that you were this mythical, legend in the world of swimming. As I was growing up, every time I went to a swim meet, it was always like, oh, Mary T would have won a medal there, or Mary T would have won that race. And I'm hearing this in the late 90s and early 2000s and all the way up. And I saw a stat. I was actually reading. There was a stat where it said at the last Olympics in Tokyo, you would have actually finished 4th. 40 years later, with your time of 2:05, you still would have finished 4th at the Olympics. That's insane.
I can't believe it. And it's funny, Brett, because I'm torn between being so proud, but also feeling like, oh, I wish I could put it together another great swim. So, within those 7 years, I
Mm,
do think I had more in me. And
mm,
I just, once my body well, the good thing with doing it that time before I'd finished filling out is I was never accused of using steroids. So I was
Mm-hmm.
still, quite a scrawny. And so that's kind of nice to feel like there's no shadow.
Mm-hmm.
But certainly I should have been able to use my physical growth to go faster. And, when I finished at 2:05, I felt like I could have done a turn and kept going. So
Yeah, it looked like it actually. It looked like you could have done a 300 at that pace,
I
but
think I think I descended that race.
you
So
did. It was
anyway,
crazy.
for whatever reason, and maybe it was just to humble me, because I certainly thought that I was in control of my own destiny,
Yeah.
and to have to swim 7 years and never go faster humbles you and makes you realize, no, there's some other things that need to fall into place.
Right. Look. I mean, in a lot of ways, I think most swimmers can relate. You're talking. I can relate to that. Like, I swam professionally for 7 years for Australia. Traveled the world, and all I did was swim. And you always want to swim faster. First of all, like, no matter what you do, you'll post a time and you think that was the easiest thing I could have done, and now I'm going to go faster. And you always want that. So that, I don't think that ever changes. But there's those times you look back to and you think, wow, that was just so easy. How did I just do that so easily? And when I watched your 2:05, I could see you thinking that at the end of the race, like, what did I just do? That was so effortless. It was easy. You did change your race plan on that one, where you did go out easier. You said you learned that lesson previously. You'd gone out a little too hard. So on this occasion, as the commentators are talking, they're saying, oh, she's going out easy. She's way off world record pace. Even at the 150, you're a second behind it or something like that. And then you just put on the jets and just rock it home and look incredible. How much of that swim do you remember itself? And then how often do you watch that swim?
Oh, I rarely watch that swim.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. So a couple funny things, I guess, is, yes, that was my strategy, to go out a little slower. Now, I think it was 2 days or 3 days later is when I went my 57.9 in the 100 fly.
Mm-hmm.
And my coach looked at me then and said, oh, had I known you had that in you, I wouldn't have told you to go out as slow as you did in the 200 fly. So, my technique must have just been right on. And, all the training from 1980, all that long distance, and, paid off in 81. 81 was more of a sprint training, or a quality. I wasn't sure I wanted to keep swimming. So Bill Peak, then my coach at that time, just said, well, just train once a day, at least 5 days a week. And let's see what happens, see how you feel. And so with that different mentality and an emphasis more on quality, not quantity, it all kind of fell into place. And so, I do remember, I think in the 100 fly is what I remember diving in. I used to struggle with, like, my breakout. I just couldn't seem to time it right. And my turns, it's like I'd hit at the half stroke. And I do remember feeling like, especially in the 100, like, wow, I just nailed that dive. Like, I could tell I was totally streamlined hitting the water, and I broke out right. I think my turn was right on. And in the 200, I think I remember my turns were right on. But just things fell into place.
Look, I'm sorry. I could talk to you for hours. I got so much stuff for you, by the way. So, like, I'm so interested. I'm so interested in your story. It's just crazy. Like, again, like, I've written the numbers down. It just doesn't make sense. But, like, I do want to say this, that there's people that come along in swimming and they kind of shift the paradigm, that they move the sport forward. Obviously, anytime anyone breaks a world record, but there are certain people that come along. I think in relative terms, lately you've been kind of compared to, like, a Katie Ledecky, or like even an Adam Peaty, who, they come along and they take the swim from where it is here and they shift it like 3-4 jumps ahead, right? Like Adam Peaty went 56 in the 100 breast, and Katie Ledecky doing what she's doing in the 800 and the 1500, and just, like, winning races by 50 meters, right? So you were that person at that time. Did you know it at that point? Like, did you just feel like you were so much better than everybody else? And not in a cocky sense, but was it hard for you to compete because you were so much better?
No, it was fun to compete. Once again, where Denny is incorrect is, once I got beat in 1982 for the first time,
Mm.
it pulled the rug out from underneath me. I mean, I lost a lot of confidence. I no longer felt in control of my destiny. And in hindsight, there wasn't a lot of sports psychologists back then, but I could have
Yeah.
used probably someone to help me look at things in a healthier way than, oh, crap, this is all just, this could all be for naught. And
Mm.
so, that really made me struggle. But, before then, no, it was fun. And even after that, the times that I was feeling good, it was fun. But I will say, by the time I got to 88 and I wasn't feeling good and I wasn't confident, I didn't know what was going on. Like, gosh, did I miss my paper? Did I not train correctly? That was a hard Olympics. That was a really hard Olympics. And, luckily someone before I competed said, look, you just got to give it 100%. That's how you'll live with whatever happens. And so even after the 100 that I got 7th and so disappointing, with my time and everything, I really stayed engaged. I really tried to do everything I possibly could, eat, sleep, swim, everything. And that is how I can live with 1988. It's hard. It's one of those bruises, when you get to the end of your life, you're going to be bruised up and broken nails and, hair on fire. Well, that will always be a bruise. But as my husband said to me at one point, well, do you wish none of it had happened? And right away, I was like, no, I'd do it all again in a second. And he's like, then get over it. And
isn't it funny? Like as athletes and competitors, it seems like you're hanging on to the stuff, the regret a little bit, and the times that you weren't successful and the times that you couldn't overcome. But like we as people, like I said, people talk about you as this mythical creature. Like everywhere we go, it's Mary T. This, Mary T. That, and we remember the powerful Mary T. The one that was breaking world records, the one that was shifting the paradigm. That's what people remember, and yet here you are remembering like the times that you failed, like it's so crazy how it's out of whack there, isn't it?
Yeah. And that my husband saying that to me really did make me turn that. So while maybe I've spoken about my failures, I am so grateful for, the good. And, it just, and I'm grateful that people don't hang on to the bad, because in today's world, it seems like the media is always looking for a star to bring down. So it's really, I'm grateful that people are remembering the good.
Well, that's what, even when I first reached out to you, you're like, what do you want to talk to me for? I'm like, are you kidding me? Why wouldn't I want to talk to you? Are you like, you're one of the legends of the world swimming. Of course I want to talk to you. We individualize training in the pool, so why not individualize your nutrition? Erica Beine of Beine Wellness Building will help you and your swimmers get exactly what each athlete needs through genetic testing and personalized nutrition plans. So stop guessing what you should and shouldn't be putting into your body. Athletes within a few weeks have noticed they're recovering faster because they're fueling their body with what they need and staying away from what their body hates. Erica understands swimming. She gets it. She's worked with over 20 Olympians, including the fastest man in the world, Caleb Dressel. Group discounts are available, so go to Beine Wellness Building and get in touch with Erica today. That's Beine, Beine, wellnessbuilding.net. Swim Angelfish. Swim Angelfish is an online certification program that strengthens your teaching curriculum to serve swimmers of all abilities. Swim Angelfish will prepare you and your instructors with the skills to teach swimmers with autism, physical disabilities, anxiety, sensory and motor conditions, and more. Learn to teach skills faster and with more comfort with Swim Angelfish. Apply for an Only Alpha Pool Product Scholarship and receive up to 50% off your certification. Go to swimangelfish.com today to apply. No, tell me this: in 80, what was 80 to you? Were you at your peak, or were you coming into your peak just after that? I mean, obviously you broke the world records in 81 as well, but in 80, well, how did that affect you when you couldn't go to the Olympics?
Um, it did not affect me nearly as much as it did others. First of all, I had a quick rise. So from, 78 to 79 is when I went from being good to setting my first world record.
Hmm.
So there was really only 1 year, I guess being the 10th child in my family, we had one TV and, I don't even remember watching the Olympics much before
Mm.
that. So the Olympics weren't something I shot for from a young age. It was a 1 year goal that my coach and I set, Denis and I set. So it wasn't like others. Plus, I was still so young, and I'm going to say naive, maybe it was cocky, that I kind of was like, well, if I want to go in 84, I'll just keep trying in 84.
Mm.
And, so that was when I was still a little naive and not understanding, um, you know, what I'm going to say, the opportunity we were denied. So.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting, we're 20 minutes into this thing and you haven't even mentioned 84 in terms of winning and being successful. I mean, you won what, 3 golds in 84. Like most people that would be like the centerpiece of like, yeah, I went to the Olympics and I won. How was 84 for you? Like I'm getting the feeling that there
Well,
was something there as well.
yeah, well, they boycotted back, right? So yes, I won, and a lot of
Ah,
us won, but our biggest
oh,
competition wasn't there. And I
okay.
didn't
So, all
and I
right. So
didn't
you're
swim
hanging
my
on to
best
that a little
time.
bit. Oh,
I didn't swim
wow.
my best time. So, I
Okay.
was luckily with swimming, we can look at times and at the end of the world rankings or, the year rankings, you know, I could still say, well, I probably would have won. But there's nothing like standing up next to your biggest competition and doing it head to head.
Okay. All right. It's making sense now. It's making sense. All right. I do feel like you need someone to pump you up a little bit. We need to get like a team of people around you, like
Oh, my
tell you
life
how
is
amazing you
really
are.
good. My life is really good.
Yeah. Do your kids know much of this history of you?
They did not until what Olympic trials was that? 2012, maybe
Mm.
2012, I think it was. And at the Olympic trials, the swimming does a great job of having a reunion for previous, national team members. So I went, took them with me, and they asked if I would be interviewed on the pool deck in between events. And so I went down for the interview, and it was so touching, Brett. It 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 is one of the top, I'd say, 3 highlights of my life,
Mm.
where they introduced me on the deck and I got a standing ovation that they really couldn't even ask me questions, because they ran out of time. And I was shocked. And then when I got back up in the stands, I remember my daughter going, "Okay, that was weird." And I bet they Googled me at that point to find out what that was all about. So, no, I
Yeah.
made the decision to become Mary Plant. My husband was Olympian. He was a speed skater. He's also a very big personality. And, you know,
Is he American?
he was a speed
Okay.
skater in 80.
So
And
you end up marrying a guy that goes to the Winter Olympics.
yeah, we've gone to more Winter Olympics than Summer
Oh,
Olympics.
really? Oh,
Oh
wow.
yeah. And
Wow.
so yeah, that's been nice too, is unlike maybe other athletes, I've still been able to enjoy a lot of that. He's been on the board of directors, or he was of the Olympic Committee for years and
Oh,
president of speed skating,
okay.
so um but he also has a very big job here. And so I kind of made the choice to be a stay-at-home mom and Mary Plant and not try to help my kids not live under that shadow.
Mm. Well, I'm bringing the shadow back out because I think I'm just a massive fan. Like I said, there's no way. Like I've heard about you for years and years and years. So when did they start this Madam Butterfly thing? When did that come about?
I don't really even know, to be honest with you. I'm guessing 84 or 86 maybe. I don't
Mm.
really know.
Mm.
But
You just
yeah, it
stuck, I
has
guess.
certainly stuck. And
Mm.
so the funny thing is, I will say, several years after my career ended, someone says to me, "So do you ever get offended that your nickname's Madam Butterfly?" And I was like, No, why? They go, well, you do know the story of Madam Butterfly, right? And I was like, I guess I don't.
I don't either. Tell me, what's the
It doesn't
story?
end well. It doesn't end well
Oh,
for her.
really?
So all of a sudden I was like, oh gosh, like, but anyway, I know everyone thinks of it as in a positive way.
Yeah, no, it is. It's certainly positive. Well, I guess the way that I came into contact with it is a swimmer that I grew up with was Susie O'Neill, and I guess Susie was the one that ended up breaking your world record for the first time. I think what I wrote down here, I think it was 19 years later. So at the 2000 Olympic trials, I'm swimming. I'm trying to make the Olympic team, but I'm there as somebody competing, and then Susie O'Neill comes out and does her thing at the trials and breaks your world record, and then they start to nickname her Madam Butterfly. How'd you feel about her taking your nickname?
Oh, I was fine, and I was totally thrilled with it. She and I haven't seen each other or talked much, but I had read enough to know that she's just such a nice, young, at that time, young lady. We're older now. Sorry, Susie, we're older now. But, and I just totally admire the fact that she chose to not use the faster swimsuit. She wanted to break my record in the same type of swimsuit that I swam in. And you know what? Not many people would have made that choice. So that was a class act, class decision on her part. And she totally deserves the recognition.
That's great. She will absolutely be listening to this, so she'll be thrilled that you said that. And she's a beautiful person. She's a good person, and she reminds me of you, like in terms of just the work ethic and just the standard of competition. Like she's held herself to a very high standard. She worked very hard. I know it meant a lot to her to break that world record. I've actually interviewed her on this podcast as well. But let's just put it in perspective. So the first time you do break the world record in the 200 flies, 79, I believe. And at that point, I wrote down here was 209.87. So 209.8, you break the world record in 79. And then 2 years later, you take it to the mind-blowing 205.9. So in that 2 years, you just felt like it was kind of a shift in training. What did you do in that 2 years to drop those 4 seconds?
So first of all, I continued to grow physically, but no, it was training under Denis and Bill Peak. As I said, I had only trained with Denis. Basically, I was with one team in Louisville, big rivalry, and that team went bankrupt. And so if any of us were going to continue to swim year round, which for a while I told my parents I'd rather quit than swim for Lakeside, who was the rival team. But they said, okay, try it for 4 months. Just see how you like it for 4 months. So, of course, by 4 months, I was on the team and doing well. So anyway, I had a rival. I don't know if you remember the name, Lisa Beasy, but she was a butterflyer. She also made the 1980 Olympic team in butterfly and freestyle. And our rivalry was deep, and it was not good. So,
in the practice pool you're talking about?
Oh yeah, every day.
Oh yeah, really?
Every day we went head to head, and Denis was smart in that because butterfly, has such a wide stroke.
Right.
He would have us come in a half hour after the rest of the team in the morning, and then stay an extra half hour, and all the butterflyers got their own lane. So we were all head to head for a half hour. And that's when we did those long, grueling butterfly sets.
Like what? Give me an example of what you were doing back then.
So he would rotate through 3 800s butterfly.
What?
And then 12 200s butterfly, and like 3 sets of 10 100s butterfly. And
is this a long course pool?
It was indoor, short course in the winter, and then long course.
Okay.
And they were all short rest, basically.
So like the 200s fly, what are you doing them on?
Oh, I can't remember, but I probably for the 200s, I bet we got 15 seconds rest in between each one. He was big into descending.
Okay.
Which is why in 1980, he left for Cincinnati. So a bunch of us went and trained with him, Cincinnati, not knowing we were going to boycott. And that Cincinnati team, we won so many races in the last 50 and 25 meters.
Mm-hmm.
And it was all because that's kind of what we did all the time. And he was so good about just saying, you know, just descend, start concentrating on your stroke. When you're getting tired, don't think about getting tired. Think about your stroke. How can I take one stroke less? How can I do this turn a little faster? And he was one of those coaches that cheered every time you took a breath. You could hear him cheering for you. And so just a positive experience where you overcame the pain and the lactic acid. I mean, many a times we, you know, threw up or got close to throwing up, and that was just, that kind of became normal.
Wow. What was your favorite type of set? What set did you thrive in?
Probably descending, what do you call it? Descending distance sets. So, you know, the 500, 400, 300, 200, 100, you know, go through that 3 times or whatever.
Butterfly.
Oh no, that was usually freestyle or IM.
Okay, thank God.
Yeah, no.
Wow. But I mean, I'm laughing at that, but I'm sure you did some crazy butterfly. I mean, 3/800s butterfly seems crazy to me.
Yeah.
Was there a rule back then that you couldn't break stroke?
Oh, I don't think we ever broke stroke.
Did you slap hands a lot?
Wait, no, I don't think.
Did you guys slap hands though? Like if you're coming past someone, did you smack hands?
Maybe, but you know, you just get so used to it. I mean, even to this day, I can swim in our community pool, and I can judge whether or not I need to do a little stroke like that, or if I can go out in a normal freestyle. I don't do butterfly anymore, but you know.
Wow. So I talked about, the 209 to 205. The other really cool stat that I saw is that no one had ever broken 59 seconds before you did it. But not only did you break 59, but you also broke 58 on the same swim. So you went straight past, 58 to 57. So like you said, that was a bit of a shock to know that you had that type of speed too, right?
Yeah, it was. As I said, my coach, I did that after the 200 fly, and I think, we agreed I probably would have taken out my 200 fly faster had we known that a 57 was in me. But I think, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think I ever went 58 except a relay split. I think I went that 57 one time. I don't know if I ever went 58 in a flat start.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. So that was just, I guess you were just having to meet that meet, right? Like things were just on and things that click. You have those meets where it just all clicks and you can't fully understand why, and you think you can replicate it every single day because it just kind of all fell into place. But you do have those moments where things just fall into place, and you have those meets that it clicks, and then you go on this eternal search to replicate it, right? Sure.
Yeah. Oh, 88. I mean, do I want to stay with my college team? Do I want to, sorry. Do I want to stay with my college team? Do I want to go back to Louisville and train with the group there? Do I want to, I ended up in Virginia Beach with the swim coach I had in 81, and in hindsight, it's silly. I was trying to recreate, the training that I did in 81, but I'm 7 years older. It was like, well, that was dumb in hindsight.
Yeah.
But, I was searching, trying to figure out how I could get back there. And I was willing to do the work if if that's what it took. But
at that stage, you're probably in your, early 20s, mid 20s, right? So I'd imagine, most people back then couldn't afford to swim, you had to go to work. You're probably on the older side at that stage. So how were you affording to do this at that point?
Oh, it was very humbling because I graduated from college and a lot of my friends got these amazing jobs, Baine and Baine Consulting and McKinsey and all this stuff. And, I wasn't making enough money to support myself. So I'm still having to call my dad and say, can you send me $500? I need to pay my rent or whatever. So it was humbling, there could have been a financial reward had I done better at the end, but I didn't. And so, I just, it was what it was. And
There wasn't a chance to cash in after like LA, like, with those gold medals, that you couldn't have done something there?
No, because I still wanted to swim in college.
Oh, right. So yeah, a lot of people don't know that. You went to Cal Berkeley, right?
I did. Yes.
Yeah. Wow. Why'd you choose Cal?
I went on a lot of recruiting trips, and I did feel most comfortable there with the team. I, didn't drink a lot. I wasn't sure after 84 how hard I wanted to train. So I wanted a place where I'd be happy at, even if swimming became less important to me after 84. And, but I have to admit, I had a boyfriend that went there too. So that was a lot of my incentive.
Who was the coach there at that point?
Karen Moe used to hold the world record in the 200-meter butterfly. She won the Olympic gold in 72.
Okay.
So
you at least felt like she knew what she was doing then.
Yes, it made sense. She definitely had a different personality and motivation. I had to grow up a lot under her. As I said, I had so much success just doing what people told me, and she wanted to teach me how to be self-motivated.
Right.
So I had some growing pains in college for sure.
It was difficult for someone that's been used to being told what to do. It's difficult to now say, "Hey, you got some freedom to make some decisions."
Yes.
Right.
And I'm going to write the workout up on the board, and you do it, and I'll see you tonight, or I'll see you this afternoon. And I was so used to having a coach with feedback, constant feedback. And it took me a while to be able to push myself for my own, benefit, rather than because a coach is watching me.
Right. Event, heat, lane, name of swimmer, times and places. It's called Swimnerd Live, and it allows the data and times from your actual scoreboard to be broadcast and viewed in real time on any smart TV, phone, or other device. There are so many things you can do with this software. A very simple and easy to use necessity for any team or facility that is live streaming their meets results. One click on any device and they're watching your swim meet live in real time. Go to swimpractice.com to learn more. Now, did you walk away after 88? Was that it? 88, you went to the Olympics and then you said, I'm done, that I've had enough?
Yeah, there was a small part of me that felt like, gosh, should I go one more year just to enjoy maybe traveling internationally, competing internationally a little bit? And would my hard work from 88 maybe pay off? Maybe I'd even go a little faster with the training I had done for 88 that didn't seem to, pay off.
Right.
But I was burned out. I was burned out mentally. I was burned out physically. As I said, all my friends had seemingly had these great jobs. And I was like, oh gosh, I just want to, kind of enter that next phase of my life. And so
and it seems like you did that too. Like it almost seems like there was a removal from swimming in your life. Maybe like, there are a lot of people that stay connected to it or somehow, bring themselves back in, but it seemed like you just disappeared from swimming. Is that correct or not?
So I did do clinics, and I'm grateful people paid me to come give clinics at their club. So I didn't completely. And then I met my husband because the Olympic Committee has a group called the Athletes Advisory Council, the AAC. And I was the swimming rep to that athletes group, and he was the speed skating rep. So I was still representing swimming at the Olympic Committee level. And so I wouldn't say I completely stepped away, but I did try to jump into the next phase of my life.
Do you watch swimming now? Is it something that you're able to now come back to and have pleasure watching?
I never not watch it when I have the opportunity, but I don't feel like I have a ton of opportunity.
What about the Olympics? Do you watch the Olympics?
Yeah, when I can. I was in a remote place for the Tokyo Olympics, and unbelievably, all I watched was women's weightlifting one day. That was the only thing I saw the whole time, and I actually got caught up in it. I had never watched it before. I didn't even know how it worked. So,
Yeah.
um, no, I love swimming, and I look at it like it's so graceful, and so the good swimmers, um, just they're it is. It's just what do you call it? It's an art or something. I mean, it is beautiful to watch good swimming
Yeah.
and exciting. So
Yeah.
I never choose not to watch it.
Yeah.
I can't say I seek it out.
Right, right. One of the things I did overlook, and I wanted to mention this, is that this interview was lined up by a former teammate of yours, Glenn Mills. Glenn's a great guy.
Yeah.
Glenn said that he witnessed you breaking a world record in practice. Is that correct?
I don't remember that. I'm not. I don't know. I don't remember that. Maybe it was maybe it was like a broken 200 butterfly.
Oh no,
But
I'm gonna have to get to the bottom of that. I have to
yes,
dig in
I'm
with Glenn
seeing
a bit.
him tonight. So
Oh, okay.
after a beer or two, I'll belly up to the bar and find out what he was talking about.
Now, when were you inducted into the Swimming Hall of Fame?
Well, I guess it probably was 1993. I think they make you wait 5 years.
Oh, okay,
I think I
yeah,
mean,
pretty quick after that.
yeah.
Must have been a proud moment though, like for that to happen.
Sure. You know, that's right kind of the start of gaining a perspective on your career. So yes, it
Okay.
was very meaningful and probably one of the more meaningful times, just because, you know, after 5 years and another Olympics have gone by, you start realizing and appreciating what you accomplished.
Yeah. Do you have? I mean, it seems like now you've had some perspective over these years. Like, do you still look back with any regrets now, or has all that kind of been left behind?
Sure. No, I mean, I'm not going to say I'm so grateful more than anything. And as I said, I'd do it all again, even with how my career ended and the, you know, less than ideal decisions that I made sometimes. But no, I have regrets. I tried, you know, I was trying all the time to make the best decisions, but there were decisions that were made that were not ideal, as I said, and
Mm,
probably contributed to me not resetting my world records. I, you know, I was immature in ways. I think, you know, you're traveling the world. In some ways, you outgrow people of
right.
the same age, but
Yeah.
in other ways, I allowed myself to be directed by other people, and
Mm,
that keeps you immature in some ways. And so I had a lot of growing pains that all Olympians talk about, or elite athletes, I should even say, talk about. And I hit rock bottom in probably 19, yeah, gosh, I was 26. So I finished my career in 23. And in 26, I hit rock bottom, and luckily just had a fabulous counselor in Louisville that just my sister knew of her. So
mm,
I got so lucky. She helped me change a lot of the paradigms that I had based decision making on, and you know, just perspectives. And luckily,
mm,
with some tweaking, I you know, was able to make that transition. And
right.
then with a husband, as I said,
Yeah.
with a husband, a little tough love from him sometimes. You know, he, you know, worked so hard, and he made the 80 team, and that was all Eric Heiden. He was a alternate, so he didn't even get to compete because no one
Mm,
got hurt or sick. And then 84, he was one of the best in the world. He was winning world championships, and he got the flu right before the trials, and he didn't even make the team.
oh
And
wow.
you know, so here's a guy, you know, they don't even go to college because they're over in Europe all
Yeah.
winter. And,
Yeah.
you know, he finished his career without an education and without, you know, any medals to show. But he works. He's so cute. He's always, for years, he's introduced the two of us as, most people know that both Mary and I are Olympians. Between the two of us, we have 5 Olympic medals. And then he says, she has 5 and I have 0. But now he works for the Atlanta Braves for 20 years, and they finally won a World Series. So he
that's right.
Playing last year, and I think he feels complete now.
There you go. Yeah, that's it. Now you got to introduce him, differently. So
exactly.
That's very cool. What about this? One other thing here. What about the no goggles? Why were you not wearing goggles?
Because I didn't trust that they didn't fall off when I dove in. So
did you wear them in practice?
I started wearing them in practice when I was, I remember that actually, because I would wear them for half of practice. Not sure I really liked them. When I was 12 years old is when I started wearing goggles in practice.
Okay, but you're wearing them in practice, but then how do you feel comfortable not wearing them? I get the whole slip off your head and that kind of thing, but I mean, you're practicing, so you can figure it out. But to me, it would be more detrimental to be getting water in your eye. How did you see where you were going?
When you train that way, you just know it. But one of the things that actually converted me to goggles was making sure that my cap, I started wearing a cap too.
Oh.
And so to keep the cap on, it's better to wear goggles. So then you just had to make sure you found goggles that didn't leak or fall off.
Did you wear goggles in 88 at the Olympics?
Yes. But then by 84, actually, I don't know if I wore goggles in 84, but 88, I was definitely wearing goggles.
Oh, yeah, I haven't looked at the 84 race. I need to go check that out. But yeah. Well, look, this has been a real pleasure. I know you're strapped for time and you are super busy, and I really appreciate this. This has been a huge honor for me. Like I said, you're a legend. You are, whether you like it or not. You're just a legend. So,
thank you.
Yeah, I think
it's my understanding I'm going to see you this weekend, right?
Well, I was supposed to be coming down. I've got some family stuff that I have to take care of. So yeah, family takes precedence. So unfortunately, my producer Nate will be down there, so you'll get to meet Nate. Okay. He's a massive swim nerd, big fan of yours too. I actually called him before this, and I was like, Nate, what should I talk about? What should I ask? And he was like, giving me all this stuff. So you'll meet him this weekend. He's awesome, and that'll be really cool. But it seems like it's going to be a good weekend. So I got 2 buddies. Jon Sieben. Jon Sieben's going to be there.
He is not. Oh
Jon
my
Sieben.
gosh.
Yeah. He's going, and I believe his wife's coming with him. Maybe his kids are coming too. But yeah, Jon Sieben, and then Michael Clem will be there. So two good friends of mine, and 2 Aussies. So
rumor was Gareth Sykes was going to make it.
I'm not sure.
He's British, I think. He's not Australian. So
okay, well, yeah. Anyway. I mean, it seems like it's going to be a big one. I think there's some surprises going on this weekend at the Swimming Hall of Fame, so it'll be pretty cool. But all right, well, I'll let you know when this comes out. Probably after this weekend, you'll have a great weekend. So enjoy it. Thanks for doing this. Great to catch up. Thanks for taking me through your career and learning a little bit about you. I hope you feel more comfortable with talking about yourself a little bit more in the future. And I would recommend sitting down with your kids and saying, "Hey, we're going to watch this world record swim. This is when Mum was at her best. Check this out." So, yeah, it's cool. It's inspiring. So, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it. All right, take care.
I've enjoyed it. Thanks.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Vasa has been the go-to training tool outside of the pool for over 30 years. Vasa's products are ideal for developing power and proper technique in your swimmer's catch. Add a few Vasa trainers to your pool deck, and it's like adding an extra lane to your swimming pool. Go to vasatrainer.com, use code BREAD at checkout, and get 10% off anything from Vasa. Destro Swim Towers. Gain strength in the water with a tower of power. Save $150 per double swim tower by using code BRETT, B-R-E-T-T, at checkout. DestroMachines.com.